You know, I did obviously a 3-part or 2.5-part review of Anatomy of a Murder, which was the second to last episode for the first season of Riverdale. And and apparently we know that according to like what Andre Meadows said, we found out the who, and now we're going to find out the why. We're going to see what other secrets are going to be revealed. What are the Coopers hiding? You know, what is going on. I mean, the synopsis basically states, and let me see if I can pull it up here. So the synopsis basically states, and if I can pull it up here for a second, that a lot's going to go down in this last episode of the first season. Let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. But they say a lot's going to go down in this last episode. You know, a lot of secrets going to be revealed. According to this is a synopsis. This is a synopsis for Chapter 13, The Sweet Hereafter. And they say that the episode, this is from comingsoon.net, they say the episode is officially described as follows. In other words, this is officially from CW and Archie Comics. This is what they said. This is the synopsis for Chapter 13, The Sweet Hereafter. The synopsis is, and I quote, Archie and Veronica continue to grow closer. Betty is tired of her family acting as if nothing has happened and confronts her mother. Jughead finds himself in an unexpected situation, leaving Archie and the gang scrambling. Hermione makes Fred an offer that seems too good to be true. Meanwhile, the truth about Blossom's family business, they forgot to put the Blossom's family business, meanwhile, the truth about Blossom's family business is revealed, leaving Cheryl to take matters into her own hands. So it sounds like a lot's going to go down. The question is, so a lot of questions are going to be answered, maybe even more questions arising, but it's going to be like, okay, what is Jughead doing that's got Archie and the gang scrambling? What's the offer Hermione's giving to Fred? You know, what is Cheryl Blossom going to do when the realization comes out that the maple syrup business was just a front for a drug smuggling business? What is Betty going to do to confront her parents? Is Dark Betty going to kind of slowly make an appearance to the point that that's going to be enough for her parents to confess something like, oh crap, like basically, oh crap, she's going to go to that dark place. Let's just tell the freaking truth. So, a lot could go down, and that's just a synopsis about what could happen. But even though that's going to give us a lot of answers to some questions that still need to be answered, and probably raise new questions going into the second season, here's the question about Season 2. What is going to happen in it? Well, the way I look at it is Season 2, I believe, is going to probably be a bit longer than Season 1. Season 1 was more of an introductory season. You got to basically, if you're new to the characters, this is one way of doing it. This is a way of introducing the characters to you, get you invested in them, probably go out buy the comics, whatever. It gets you invested, it gets you wanting to know more about them. Now, with that said, what is Season 2 going to play into? How is Season 2 going to top Season 1? And these are just my opinions, my speculation. But I think a lot of the season, I think not only is this season going to be a little longer than the last one, because I think that's a guaranteed fact, but I think you're going to have it split into two halves. That's what I look at. I see the first half kind of continuing off where season 1 ends and finishing up any loose ends that are left behind in the season 1 finale. Like, tie up what, like, basically I see them answering a lot of questions that probably won't get answered just yet. Like, what is the Lodge's connection to the Blossoms? Was Hiram the one that was behind the whole drugging ring? Is he the one that approached Clifford Blossom and said, hey, take care of this and I'll help you out. I'll put the blame on me, but you take care of this. I believe, in my opinion, that the first half of season 2 is going to focus on finishing up what's going on here, and then it's going to start getting into what a lot of people would hope it would get into. Like I said, for the first season, I think it's going to wrap. I mean, even though the season 1 finale this Thursday could wrap up a lot of what we expect, I think season 2 is going to really wrap up in the first half of season 2. It's going to really wrap up a lot of other questions that get left unanswered for the next few months. That's what I think is going to happen, is they're going to answer a lot of the questions that we don't get answered this Thursday. Or Friday if you live in Canada and the UK. But yeah, we're going to get a lot of answers. We're going to get a lot of questions, or the remaining questions that don't get answered at the end of the finale this Thursday. We're going to get them answered in the first half, or at least the first quarter part of season 2. That's what I think we're going to get there. I also think that according to who were the guys I was listening to this morning? I know they're here somewhere. The Hashtag Show. The Hashtag Show did their review, a 71-minute review on Chapter 2 of Riverdale, or Chapter 12, I should say, of Riverdale, and one of the hosts said that Sabrina is supposed to show up in this upcoming episode. Is she going to show up at the end? Is she going to show up in the middle? How is she going to show up? Because with Sabrina showing up possibly in some capacity at the end of season 1, that's going to lead us into season 2. And even though we'll see a little bit more of her at the beginning of season 2, she's going to play a more integral part in the rest of, in basically the first half of season 2. That's what she's going to do, in my opinion. That's what's going to happen, is if she shows up in any capacity in the season 1 finale, like I said, we'll see her a little bit on and off kind of in season 2 at the beginning, because that first quarter of a season, I believe, is going to tie up a lot of loose ends that remained unloose, if you will, at the end of season 1, at the end of the finale this Thursday, at the end of the season 1 finale. I believe the first quarter of season 2 is going to do that. It's going to answer the questions that have not yet been answered. And then for the 75%, and then for about 70, for the, how do I put this? And then for the 75% rest, and then for the rest of that, how do I say this? Then for the rest of the first half of season 2, basically that 75% that remains of the first half of season 2, Sabrina is going to start playing a more integral role. That's what I think is going to happen. Sabrina is going to play a more integral role in what remains of the first half of season 2, because when we get into the second half of season 2, that's when business is really going to start picking up. We're going to find out a lot more about Hiram's connections, not just to, to the Blossoms, and not just to the Southside Serpents, but to all of Riverdale, because I got a feeling someone, and mostly the mayor, because we're going to find out. I've got a feeling what's going to happen here is the mayor is going to be ousted as mayor. I feel that's coming. I feel that's going to be an integral part. It may not be a major part, but it's going to be a huge. Well, it'll be a major part, but it's going to be an integral part that takes place in the second half of the season, because I believe the way they're going to cut off from the first half of season 2 is she's going to be ousted as mayor, and Hiram or Hermione Lodge is going to take her place. I've got that feeling. I've got that feeling that they're going to oust her as mayor. She's going to basically get impeached, and then someone like either one of the lodges, maybe Penelope Blossom, maybe even Alice Cooper, is going to stand up and take over as mayor. I feel that's coming. I don't know why, but something just tells me that the mayor, Mayor McCoy, or Mayor McKay, whatever her name is, Josie's mom, is being used as a pawn, and that's going to get revealed, and that's going to be revealed even more so during season 2, mostly towards the end of the first half of season 2, and like I said, it's going to play somewhat of a role in the second half of season 2. Because like I said, I truly believe that this upcoming second season, the first quarter of it, if not the first half, but maybe the first, I say 5-6 episodes, we're going to get a lot of the questions that remain unanswered at the end of this season 1 finale. We're going to get those answered. We're going to get a lot of loose ends tied up. And then from there, the rest of that first half, like I say, Sabrina, when she comes in, is going to play an integral role. We might find out more about what's going on in Riverdale and why things are acting up the way they are. And don't be surprised if there's a supernatural reasoning behind it. Because if you're bringing Sabrina in, you better be bringing her in for some supernatural situations. You know what I mean? You better be bringing her in for some supernatural situations. And here's one thing that nobody's touched upon, and maybe we'll get an answer in the season 1 finale. What about that old grandma-like character in the Blossom household? It seems the way she acts, the way she does things, like how she uses the pendant to predict that Polly is pregnant with twins, how she just appeared out of nowhere, behind Archie, I don't know if it was Archie, the way she just appeared behind Jughead and basically during the funeral, how she just showed up behind, I think it was a Jughead or Betty or somebody, and kind of explained the whole situation with Jason and Polly. Like, how does she know that much? So something tells me there's more to that grandma, because when you look at her, it's almost like you could sense she's not exactly who she seems. Like, maybe she's somebody that Sabrina knows, and we may not know that until maybe at the end of season 1 and mostly into season 2. Get what I'm saying? Like, is she who we think she is? And for those of you that follow the Sabrina comic and know about the characters, you know who I'm talking about. She's kind of the rival, the enemy, the antagonist for Sabrina and her aunts. So what if the old lady in the Blossom household, the grandmother, so we think is a grandmother, is actually her? Is the antagonist, the enemy, the rival of the Spellmans? I'm just throwing it out there. Because, again, the way she was portrayed here, to me, it just seems like it could be. It just seems to be too. Not, I wouldn't say predictable, but almost too obviously predictable are too obviously unpredictable. Like, it could be her. Like, that could be who we think it is in disguise. Because let's not forget, one thing we've learned about Sabrina is with the witches and wizards and warlocks is a lot of them have the power to shapeshift themselves into any person or anything they want. You go back and look at the old Sabrina Teenage Witch cartoon series, okay, and Sabrina at one point, I remember an episode where her and Salem shapeshifted into freaking plastic flamingos. Just to spy on somebody. I think to spy on their uncle or the guardian or something. So don't be surprised if maybe, just throwing it out there, maybe that is who the old lady really is in disguise. You know what I'm saying? Just throwing it out there. Because one thing Andre Meadows pointed out when he talked about the trailer, and I saw this myself when I watched the episode, is Betty said in that trailer, something wicked comes this way. And that does relate to witches. So, who's to say that ain't referencing Sabrina showing up maybe at the end of season 1? Or maybe at the end of the season 1 finale. Who's to say that is not who they're referencing? And again, like I said, we have not seen that old lady blossom for a couple of episodes. Is she going to be playing more of an integral part later on? And is she who we think she is? Because I'm getting this feeling she just might be. Maybe it's just me, but I'm just thinking she is. But if that's the case, that's one heck of a way, in my opinion, for Sabrina to play an integral part in the rest of the first half of season 1. Really a great way to do it, especially if you're going to be doing things, especially if you've got episodes planned specifically to be aired around Halloween time. You know what I'm saying? So I think, honestly, like I said, the first quarter of season 1, like the first 5-6 episodes, they're going to deal with, the aftermath of this season. They're going to wrap up a lot of the loose ends. They're going to answer a lot of questions that remain unanswered. And then the rest of that first half of season 2, the rest of that first half of season 2, in my opinion, you're going to have Sabrina playing an integral part in it. And we're going to find out more about what's really going on in Riverdale. And I think honestly, it all has to deal with supernatural in this. Some kind of supernatural feeling. Because you got rumors of characters coming back as zombies. That's supernatural wise. It's like, what's going on? So my opinion is Sabrina, like I said, in the rest of that first half of season 2 is going to play an integral part. I believe that old lady Blossom is not exactly who she says she is. I believe, in my opinion, she's the antagonist, the arch nemesis, the rival of the Spellman family in disguise. Because you guys just look at how she is presented at the in the first season when she appears, and then think about this. Alice Cooper, think about this. Alice Cooper's character dropped a bit of an Easter egg in this last episode when they went to go get Polly. She said, "Oh well, excuse me for us disturbing the witching hour." Witching hour? A little bit of an Easter egg dropped there, referencing maybe something witchy, sorcery, supernatural wise. And take a look at the mother. Take a look at Cheryl's mom sometimes. Sometimes she just gets into she just gets into this state of mind, like she's staring off into space. Like when they pointed to the police, hey, go to the barnyard, you'll find Clifford like this. You notice how Cheryl's the only one that says anything. Is the mother just too much in shock over the death of her son and now finding out that her own husband killed their son, that she's just like, go this